Chief, how are you?
Okay, do we maximize it here, I guess? I think everything's ready.
We're gonna do that alone.
We're live.
Okay, it's 5:30. Welcome to committee meeting. Welcome back, Mr. Kreis. Thank you. Back amongst us. All those times never missed, and you had to skip one.
Yeah.
Just to see what it was like, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
I'll just leave it in here.
yeah, I bet. All right, we'll start out with the ordinances. Tonight, we have 1223, that's the lodging one. That one can run its course. And then 1323, yeah, appropriations, that one will be passed and tonight. And 1423, we'll need to add that and pass it tonight. And that's going to be to authorize the service director for the new fire chief's vehicle. So, since he gave us a tour, we're authorizing.
Right,
the ordinance to
I'm getting in the car.
So, the new code enforcement officer, he got the old truck, I guess. He got quarters old truck. He didn't get a new vehicle, so.
That's to the sheriff's department. So.
So those are the ones that we need.
Mr. President, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sherry, did you get a chance to look at the lodging?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, Max, I know we said something about the salt resolution and Angie had sent us a, it hadn't opened up yet. So if it opens up, you want to explain that?
Yeah, we have to sign a resolution every year to get our allotment of salt through ODOT at the given price that we get for this county. Normally we get around 1,000 tons for our winter allotment, and there's actually a summer allotment. You can get an additional 400 tons, I believe. Of course, this year, knock on wood, so far we've had an outstanding year salt wise, so we'll probably just buy like 200 tons to restock what we used over the winter, and that'll save us a lot of money. So, and like it's a line item, what, 75,000 or better normally for salt. So we had a good year for that.
So hopefully we can have that on for the next one.
Yeah,
Get that one. And that's a resolution, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. We'll start with you, Sherry. I know you have some stuff for the next meeting.
Yeah, next meeting. The first item will be our wage ordinance for non-bargaining. It's ordinance number 5721. Two amendments to it. Discovered one of them with Public Works Assistant Director. It's a position that hasn't been filled. I'll let Max talk more on that if he'd like, but I believe it is going to be filled. But I noticed that I did have a mistake in the rate. I had 2806 instead of 2869, so that affected the 23 and the 24. Also, the utilities director for year 24, I had an error in my formula. I had one too many zeros in the 2.5%. So when I put 0.025, I put 2 zeros in there. So so if we could go ahead and have that, I have that ordinance kind of ready for Amy. I can send it to her for that to happen. And then another ordinance I will need is transfer. And I would like to transfer $23,750 from the income tax refund line to the income tax credit. And rather than starting with appropriations with it, I want to let's see what we can do with the a transfer at this point, because the Kraft Heinz job creation, economic development grant that we did, I think it was back in 2014, the first tax year rebate, 2015. I usually appropriate 200,000. Well, the rebate total for both Craft and Riverview, I'm $23,750 short. So their base wage went up. And so I went ahead and just did a little recap sheet for you since there's new council members, to let you know where we stand with that. It was a 10-year agreement. And to date, once we make this, to date, once we, what we have rebated so far is $708,819 to Kraft Heinz, and Riverview School District is that exact same amount. So total $1.4 million, $1,417,000. Estimated by the end, we're gonna be pushing close to $2 million, that agreement. I mean, it's good, it's a lot of jobs, but that was a lot of money that has gone back out to them. So just thought I'd bring you up to speed on where we're at with that. The last year that we will pay, that rebate will be in 2025 for tax year 2024. So rather than Jackie, we have the refund set at $100,000. I thought we can stretch that out and come towards the end of the year, October, if she has other extensions, if she needs, we'll just get additional then. But in the meantime, I just thought we can just transfer. So those are the two that I have.
2 or 3?
Two.
2 for next one? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Max, any others ordinances?
Yeah, so the Army Corps, we got that $990,000 grant for the Warsaw project, of which we get like 917,000. They made them a clerk aware on the definition or talking about the project. They thought the project was starting in the city. That's part of the money we spent here. I think what got them was the booster station, the one to West Lafayette's in the city limits, the one going to Warsaw will be outside the city limits. So we'll have to pass a new resolution for me to sign that, or ordinance, whichever way you want to do it, for me to sign that grant agreement again. I just got word of that today. The other thing we've had, Mark Sheriff may want to speak more to it, is we got several people in the community that have race cars that they run like a Hilltop in places. And how do we treat those as not like a junk car, like that they're racing every week and they're working on them, blah, blah, blah. With the guy setting out, ones that they're not racing, that's for parts, we'd ask them to keep them behind their house and covered up with tarps. So a lot of times they'll have dinner cars to pull parts and pieces off of it. It's really kind of they're not licensed vehicles to start with. They're a race car. So I don't know if that's something you guys want to talk about, or we'd have to amend, our nuisance ordinances for that, but Mark, you want to explain that very well?
Yeah, you did a good job. And we got 3 of them down on, Street. They're all painted up. They look like shit, really, but the guys that do, the race cars.
Yeah.
I think if we start defining what's a race car and what's a junk car, we're gonna get
Yeah.
in the middle of, I think if they have something like that, it needs to be in a building.
Paint a number on your car and you got a race car.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I don't know that we should delineate. If it's out without a plate on it, it needs to be in a building, just like any other
Right.
unplated car. That's just my thought on it.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Like you say, you got a junker in the yard, put number 15 on it, and there you go.
There you go. Don't have to have a plate on it then.
Or just buy a plate for it. It's $50.
Mhm.
I mean, you don't have to throw it on there, but just, you know what I mean? Just register it. And I don't know. The answer. Some of them don't have.
I just still don't distract me what it looks like. I think
As long
that's,
as
I think
it's got a
that's,
tag on it.
that's the main issue is what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to get plates just because you don't have a VIN number generally on a race car, if it's a chassis built car.
I think they need to put it in a building.
Now, we always have let them tarp things if they didn't have a building. I mean, that goes clear back to Conlon, so we don't want to do that anymore. Let me know.
I don't know if that looks much better. It's a piece of canvas over it.
Right.
I think when, in my opinion, if you start making concessions, and then
Yep.
people are, everybody else is gonna say, just wanna put. Deputy
Dukes of
Sheriff,
Hazzard on
it's
the
gonna
side
put,
of
it's
it.
gonna put him in a tough spot, and now all of a sudden, he's gotta be, you know, he can't follow an ordinance, because we just broadened it and made it hard for him to do his job.
So that's what I brought up. We're just looking for direction, so.
Part of our problems in the past have we've been too discretionary with our ordinances and who we're enforcing it on or with and who we're not. And we can't,
I think we changed this one to quote. The ordinance was changed to put more teeth in it. So if you're gonna put more teeth in it, why you wanna pull them out?
Mhm.
I think Mark's done a good job
I do too, yep.
with going, you know,
Oh,
what
yeah,
he's done so far.
I can't think how many cars we've towed over the last month and a half.
So
Probably hadn't even scratched the surface, but I just, that's my opinion. You guys can vote on it. You guys are the voting ones, but I just, plus it makes Bob's job harder. If it's in an ordinance and you go change it, making it easier for people to do what Mike said.
what do you think, Bob?
Well, I assume what Max is talking about is, do we want to create an exception for race cars under the junk car ordinance? I'm not in favor of that. I could see somebody having a junk car and throwing number 5 on it.
Yeah.
Now,
So
if you want to make exceptions, you know, if they have it on a trailer,
Right.
but, you know, even then, maybe they're not racing this year and it just sits on a trailer for 2 years. So
I know in the nice part of town, there is a actual dragster that sits under a car cover. That I think they take over national trails and drag race, sits in their driveway. So, I mean, it's probably a $50,000 automobile sitting there, but
it's under a car. cover, not a
it's an
piece of
actual,
canvas.
like what I have on my Corvette, you know, an actual made car cover.
I think common sense prevails
Yes,
with our code enforcement
Yeah,
officer.
so if we follow that.
that's what I say.
I think he has common sense and
Just use his best judgment and say, hey, you know, clean it up or, you know, it's all right.
that's why we wanted
That's right.
That's why we wanted our code enforcement officer to do, and if we have to trust him to do his job, and if not, we can ask him about it. In my opinion.
That's what we wanted.
Yep.
Appreciate it. I don't think I have anything else.
No ordinances coming up.
Wise that I know of for next meeting.
I just want to follow up on our discussion last meeting on the fees for the machines. I know that the Elks Lodge has sent a copy of our ordinance to the State Attorney General's office, so they are waiting on a ruling from the State Attorney General's office. So when they receive that, then we'll discuss it again and see where we are.
Had somebody ask me that there are machines that you can put money into and it spits out tickets. Why aren't those getting a fee? I mean, I know we said that, you know,
Let me
I
ask
know
you
the
a
mayor
question.
said, I know the mayor said this was, you know, a legislative thing. But I think as council, you know, I think we have to think about this because they're bringing up legitimate,
Right. What do the tickets do for you?
same thing as those video machines.
No, I mean, are you turning the tickets in for cash or you turning the tickets in for prizes, for beers, for?
Cash.
So it's like skeet
It's
ball.
a bingo machine.
Right, so it's the same thing as
It's the same thing.
it's the exact same.
If you hit those machines, it says right on Attorney General, this is a lottery or a
Bingo.
licensed bingo machine.
Mhm.
It says right on it. So then the other question was, anybody running bingo games, are they getting the fee? I mean,
I think it's always been machines is how it's been designed.
yeah,
I guess my question will be with the Elks. Should they not pay the fee and wait on that ruling so they're not outside the ordinance? And then if we get a response back that says we're all wet, we would refund the money back. I guess that's more of a question for Bob, but
Answer is yes, they should pay the fee.
yeah,
yeah.
Otherwise, they're in violation of our ordinance.
Right.
yeah.
I don't think they're gonna get an opinion from the Attorney General, but we'll see.
I think they are, one of them being told.
You won't give me one.
We'll see if they get one then.
Listen, so, okay. So you guys aren't gonna have anything else for the next meeting on the 27th?
Not unless something like with the Warsaw funding or something come up between now and then that you maybe have to give me the right to sign a grant agreement or something.
Dave, you gonna have anything?
Nothing to my knowledge.
Yeah, whenever that opens up,
No,
that
that-
salt
that's the
The
resolution,
salt,
the
yeah,
salt resolution, he'll get that to you.
yeah.
And then the Warsaw thing too.
Yes.
She's gonna get that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And you'll get that to her, correct?
Yeah, if something comes up between now and then. I don't foresee that happening.
I thought we were amending the Warsaw.
No, it's gonna be a new one, correct?
For the Warsaw,
For the Warsaw
like each
project?
grant generally requires some type of thing that gives me the right to, if
Yeah.
it's RPIG, whatever it is, usually requires.
An ordinance or a resolution?
Yeah, for me to have the right to sign it for you guys.
I thought we were amending one that they made a mistake on.
That's the Army Corps.
Okay.
That will be next,
Okay.
for sure, yes.
Just making sure.
Everybody get the auditor's report? Everybody good with that? Okay. Let's see, when, Max, on the housing and property mains, when is have you gotten a date for the hearing for that rec place in Bosco?
Yes, but I can't say off the top of my head what it is. You're talking about the old church.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Bob in here. It's in April, but I don't know what the exact date is. I'm sorry.
I read it in the weekend. It's April. That first week.
Yeah. It's coming up. I'll see, put it on my calendar if possible.
Anything from Mr. Kadra, you have anything for us?
Nothing other, if there's any questions about the monthly reports there?
No, I know I sent you an email with a couple of questions, and you're saying, just so I'm correct, that in a 8.2, if we have with that contract, we have the option, if we wanted to, we could annex.
Yeah, 8.2, he's talking about in the Warsaw Coshocton contract, says we cannot annex any existing customer that's currently being supplied by the village of Warsaw. Village of Warsaw has told us they have no customers outside their village limits. So you can make the assumption that if there's no customers outside the village limits, you can annex to the village limit of Warsaw if desired.
That was my question after
I just wanted to be
reading
clear.
through this. I guess I would request that any future contracts or anything we get ahead of time instead of at the meeting. So, because I didn't catch that until after the meeting. And then I had a question about it. I think Tom did follow up on it. Thank you. But I'd prefer to see any contracts at least a week ahead of time, so we have a chance to look
Yeah,
through
because I
it.
know, because Sherry caught one right out of the box, so.
Yeah, yeah, the one, we actually changed that description a bit there for less confusion, but in the definitions, it defined that fund as a city-created fund, but just to clarify, to make it easier, we changed the name of that fund, but
But I think it causes less confusion though, and anxiety, if we have that stuff beforehand.
was there a copy sent with for the first reading on the draft that went to everybody?
I don't remember anything.
I don't either.
And I open up all your attachments.
Okay,
to
all right.
Look at them, so.
So,
The problem with that was the EPA really put us under the,
yeah, but I agree with Roger. Roger, you know, we'll make sure going for, even if it's only a draft, what we're working off, we'll make sure you guys get a copy
Yeah,
of
but
that.
we have questions, we can get a hold of you ahead of
Right,
time.
yeah. Do you remember any of your other questions, Roger?
That was the only one that jumped out at me, as far as that goes. I did have one on the report you sent out as far as our, as long as, we done with the Warsaw? I don't want to move anywhere else unless anyone else has a question on that Warsaw.
I forget what your
contract.
second question was, Tom. It was outside rates. Oh, yeah, we can charge outside rates.
What's our intent on that?
Outside rates.
Go ahead.
I just under violations, what is our unaccounted water loss that they've cited us on? And they said it's supposed to be below 30%. Have we reduced what it was?
We have not done a new calculation during the initial reporting period on the numbers we had available at the time. It was reported as 52%. But we've discovered some of the measurement errors. Josh, the superintendent, and I have attended like 3 of the different RCAP training sessions, realizing some of the things that may be part of it, just reporting error, is we really just took the data from year to year. Well, some things we've learned, that doesn't match our billing cycle, so that's off a month. We know we didn't account for, and they don't do a lot, but water from flushing hydrants. We started keeping tracks of leak water now. Some of the biggest water users, and they're getting the meters installed. They come in for like the water plant. The water plant probably has a 4-inch line, runs constantly. So a lot of that is also unaccounted. I know a couple of you attended some of that other training. It's also unbilled. It's used, you know, for legitimate purposes, but we don't have a good quantitative number of hydrants is 8%, you know, the water plant is 6% to address those. So that's what they're saying, you know.
So, and
where
then
you go
the
for it.
$25,000 per day fine that kicks in after January 1 of 25, if that problem is not corrected, or does that kick in?
That is their standard language, to my knowledge, you know, seeing these audits for 15 years, they've never fined anybody.
You don't want to be the first, do you?
No, we don't want to be the first, you know,
that's one of the reasons for our water meter project. as
really,
well.
that's one, you know.
Logan's went from 50% to 20 just by doing the meter projects. so.
You know,
We obviously have to come up with at least 22%
right.
less
You
water loss.
get off of their radar, right? So, but that's the things we're
All right.
working on. But that's a valid question. So that's something we've learned, and like I say, is our metering so sporadic because as you'll all receive city water bill, we estimate some of it's measured. How much does that factor into it? You know, you get 5% here, 4%. All of a sudden, we've got 20% already that's just, we know it's out there that we didn't account for correctly.
So do we need to meter places that are getting water that aren't paying for it?
Yes,
And that'll help on that.
it'll help on that, you know, and the unpaid customers is a legislative decision, and that the EPA, well, not to say that's a decision by this body, but at least account for it so you know where your water's going.
If you count for it, it's not lost. Would be my opinion
Right.
on that.
Right.
Of course, I'm not the EPA either.
Yeah, and that's what they talk about in, I know Tom took it like the AWA, they've got a chart, you know, it's water losses, the true water loss, every pipe joint will leak a teaspoon. So when you got a 100-mile pipe, that's true water loss. We have a lot of unaccounted for water.
Thanks, Dave.
So as we expanded to West Lafayette and we're going to Warsaw. So that percentage is gonna stay the same, correct? We have to maintain those lines and leaks.
Those lines, you know, as we look at overall water loss, you know, I see them not impacting that. First, it's new lines. Those were pressure tested before they were put in. You know, we measure at the end of that line every day, the water going to West Lafayette to keep track of that. And when we've had a few leaks up there, we saw that number go up, and we go up and address it. And that's where metering comes in, because they have everything up there metered.
Okay. On your report, you also, I think I understand this, but there's money with liens in the county. or
What we start, you know,
As the auditor.
as we try to address that big overdue number, we kind of look at our data and we kind of rack stack it different, but I run a new report And I had some of the staff look at some of those water accounts that had high balances. And some of the easy ones look at, well, this person was deceased, this person was deceased, this person's deceased. So it's tough to get those. So those where we can, we file liens with the county auditor, saying we may get paid on a couple of them, some of them we're not. But since there's nobody living, there's really no way to go after them. So we're going after the estates because they haven't went through sheriff's sale or probate yet. So that's where we're looking at there. But that, as it says in the report, so as we final those accounts up, that'll drive the final balance up. And we've had 3 or 4 payments from the county auditor, right, Sherry, on some of those liens. We've got some money out of that.
Good. Okay.
If you know of the person that's deceased, if there's an estate, we can file a claim against the
Right.
estate and get paid. It's just a lot of times there may not be an estate filed.
Yeah, so yeah.
Where is water used to fight a fire? How does that come into play? Can we account for that?
We started that when we had the big, fire at Grace Church. We tried to do a calculation, what we thought we estimated on that, to keep track of that.
There'd be no way to track it on my end. You just have to look at the daily rates of what it was, what it increased that day, what's compared to the
All
day
right.
before, or a week before.
And then that's unaccounted for water. It's truly not lost, but it was unaccounted for. Hopefully we don't have to account for that one ever again,
The ladders have meters on them, those in the trucks would be at a meter lunch for.
You'd think they would take that into consideration.
Yeah.
So fight a fire with air.
The next time we do the water, we'll throw a number in it and say, hey, we've had X amount of losses from known breaks, fire hydrants to get that number down.
All right.
Good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Making good progress on the hydrants too.
Yes.
That's good.
That list is a little bit out of date. I think there's 3 or 4 more that I can cross off that list.
We are down to 4 as of this afternoon, and those 4 we're waiting on parts for those, so.
We can just
Fire
start paying.
valves,
Good.
so.
A lot of progress in a short time.
Best it's been in at least 10 years. We talked about it. We had a meeting with Dave today with Captain Combs and Brent Inslee, and we kind of went back and forth, and it might even be longer than that. The best we calculate, 10 to 15 years, but it's pretty phenomenal. So,
It's a good job.
4 out of 898 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's pretty good.
And that may save a house or anything.
Yeah.
Giving the mayor's report.
I am.
That'll be pretty short.
Mayor's and
Him
mine
not
together, I guess.
Keep your hat on.
Huh?
You better put your hat on.
Better put my hat on. The novelty building, Mark and the mayor's working with the owner, also the fire department's working with the owner. Trying to work on a resolution on that building. One of the problems we found out with that building is it's part of an LLC, which I guess Bobby could talk to it more than me, but I guess you can't really sue an LLC, so.
You can sue an LLC.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
Okay. You're gonna get a building.
Same way.
They started an LLC, every building they buy, they start another LLC.
Okay.
Is that a common practice, Bob?
Yes, for buildings like this that they buy on spec, thinking they can hopefully turn it and think about.
Maybe we could take it and turn it over to someone to put a business there.
They'll probably walk away from it, if I was guessing. That bad. Yeah.
Same way with the Edmonds building, and there's been no movement on the Carnegie building. We already talked a little bit about this, but we're working diligently on the spring cleanup of trash and car removals. Wanted to bring up, it was kind of a sore subject when we put it out on social media about building permits. Building permits don't bring in a whole lot of money to us. The one thing that we found is though that people that don't get them up front, especially when it comes to a business, and then they want to, come in after the fact and open up a business in an area that's not properly zoned for that business, creates a major hassle, not only for them, but for us as well. So just wanted to get out there on the record that people need to come in before they put a business in an area, and then come in after the fact. wanting to get a building permit or zoning change, because if you've already got a couple $100,000 invested, you could be out. Depending on, how the board decides, so. There is a method to why you should get a building permit upfront. That tells you if you need to get Mideast involved. If the fire department needs to get involved in the plans, and there's more than just paying a nominal fee to get a building permit.
I don't,
Especially when it comes to commercial.
even if it's zone business and they're creating a new business or renovating an existing building, I don't know how they can start without the building permit or the Mideast. It's like the one I emailed you
They
about.
shouldn't.
No,
They shouldn't, and our ordinance says that if they don't have it, they have to cease work.
Mhm.
I don't
That don't
know
always
that
happen either.
happens.
Right.
And Max, you just said, the city doesn't make a lot of money off the building permits, but all those monies that we say don't add up to much, those things do add up. Eventually, that's city revenue.
Well, especially on the commercial side of things, because the building permits have a higher fee than what the residential does, obviously.
But I've heard that several times in these meetings where, that's not a lot of money. That's not a lot of money, but
I don't know.
eventually it is a lot of money.
I don't know if that, I don't think Mark's job description changed from when we created that job, but I know part of that was to check, if they saw construction, check and see if they have the building. I don't know how much we followed that in the past, but not that he doesn't have enough to do
Mhm.
with junk vehicles, but if you see something that you think should they check and see if they have a
All
permit.
you have to do is that, just add it to his list and he takes care of it, so.
I realize that.
Mhm.
I know the one there by the railroad tracks, they were working on that probably a month before I even texted you about it. And I know you said they didn't have anything yet.
Well, that's protection too. If they're like the old church you were talking about, if they had applied for a building permit for that business, they would have found out right then and
Yeah,
there.
residential district.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we, went over the other day, was sports bar, a new sports bar. Sent, Jason Boffin over Wednesday to talk to them because they don't have anything yet. And there's a lot that goes in when you're putting French fryers and all that stuff in.
Mhm.
Sure, Rusty will agree, you just can't do that stuff without
That's
having
one
it
on
the-
Main Street.
Yeah, which I mean, it's great. I
yeah.
applaud them for putting that in there in the old AC, but it's just stuff you have to follow.
That's why there's an ordinance.
So, we received a letter from the community band. It's was addressed to Mark. They're asking you guys to have supported them in the past, I believe. We give them.
Was that in our appropriations? It was.
I honestly can't remember.
Well, see, I
It's
think
usually
we-
25.
2,500. I think we put it in, then they get it back to us there a couple years ago, and then we,
What they said was, last season, the band received generous support from Coshocton City Council, 2,500. Our annual operating costs are approximately 5,000 per year. These costs include compensation for a director, insurance, music purchases, equipment maintenance, storage, and transportation. We continue working hard to earn the support of the city and the greater Coshocton community. We could not do this without the encouragement and financial support we receive from many sources. We hope this will enable us to continue performing for years to come. We appreciate your support and consideration. There's the letter. I guess, I don't know if Amy wants to put that in there too. So that probably would be an ordinance that you may want to look at. I guess I didn't think about that.
Well, if it's,
It's
let
already
me
in
check
there.
to see, before we go into the next meeting, I'll look and see if it's in the appropriations. If it's there, I can just have you initial up on that and I'll take that as the support to go with.
I'll give it to you in that way.
Yeah.
Tim France, Judge France, come to my office Thursday afternoon about wondering if council would be open to any type of funding for CIB. In the past, all of our street planners and light pole planners have just been covered by donations. And he says the cost of that's kind of getting more than what their donations are. Want to know if the council will be in favor of providing any money to cover that, so.
You can figure.
It's, I hate to throw this out there because the way I understood this would be like a lifetime figure of 20 grand. So,
We just give them 20, didn't we?
Give them 30, wasn't it?
Greenhouse.
What was that last year?
For the greenhouse?
probably for the greenhouse,
The demolition, I think it was.
yeah. So I'm just thinking if you want him to come speak to you guys, I'm sure he would. We got the mulch down in Hall Park today. We got some grass to repair, I say.
I'm gonna say, they really did a good job when they dropped that off, didn't they?
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah,
I went up there and I seen that grass, and we've got to be kidding me.
So Rec will
Oh,
get
they
it.
tore it up bad,
Yeah.
yeah, they tore it up pretty good.
We'll get all that, but we got it all down in around the playground equipment.
Are they gonna have to fix it?
Whoever delivered it
Tore
should
up.
fix it.
You know, the
Yeah,
grass is, yeah,
I'm sure.
where they dropped all the stuff, the
It
bags,
was
yeah, it's pretty bad.
semi and stuff. I'm thinking City Rec will take care of fixing everything. So it looks like hopefully the grass gets a little greener. It'll look like the pickleball courts. Because we put blue in with the green, just kind of continuing that theme. It's blue. Let's see, talked about fire hydrants. We're continuing to spend a lot of time on funding sources for Warsaw. Had another call today with the Mega. We're actually been contacted to put requests in for at the federal level for this project from Sheriff Brown's office and Troy Balderson's office as well for their instituted earmarks. So anything we can get through there will greatly help that. Since the health department merged, we've sent Randy Ryan to mosquito spraying school, so he's licensed now, so we'll be spraying through recreation's license, now be handled between the recreation and the public works. And you want me to mention Lake Park cleanup day is 4/1/23, April Fool's Day. The Friends of the Park half marathon, looks like they're getting a tremendous amount of support there. It's 4/8/23, is that correct?
Mhm.
What time's that start?
8 AM.
8 AM.
You running that?
No, I will work for Sherry and she'll park me someplace right and say, go, you're doing great. You're halfway home. And then our community cleanup day will be 4/15 following Saturday at 8 AM. That's a combination between the United Way and the city. And the first 50 people get a free t-shirt.
Yeah, how about a 3X? Okay, don't say the first 50 get a free shirt. What was the date on that, Max? For what?
4/15 for the community cleanup. And they were supposed to trim some trees Sunday downtown, but with the weather, they're gonna try to do them this coming Sunday.
Speaking of downtown, it just reminded me, we're hearing some rumblings, I don't know if they're true or not, that our businesses downtown want to mark off parking only for their businesses, and I don't think we need to get into that. I know that when the prior restaurant was downtown, they did that, and I don't think that should be permitted.
We took down, that's not permitted. I haven't seen that, haven't heard that. We took down all the 30-minute parking signs because they're unenforceable anyway, and they just kind of make Main Street look junky,
So
so.
if you hear anything about it, we need to nip it, because I don't think we need parking for Deans or whatever downtown.
I had not heard that,
All right.
so,
I'll fill you in later.
no. That's all I had.
I just follow up, we were in the, that SPP meeting last Friday. She talked about the loan and stuff, we got that back, right? Or getting information on that, she sent an email today. Did you see that email from her?
I did read one from her. I know we're trying to go after the loan that was put in on that sewer line.
Right.
That's one of the things we're going after, and then Warsaw's the other.
Then, that email that Bob sent out had the attachment. I didn't get a chance to read it because we didn't get it till late, today. He said that you would talk on it about the, what's going on at the, Woodbury.
I read it.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, they're harvesting trees out there. It's just part of forest management. It's like a 40 to 60 acre plot out of the 19,000 that they have, but I think it's something there.
It was for a high wall, from what I read in
Is that what
that
it
letter
is?
Bob sent out, and it's something that, I don't know if it's ODNR, or the state highway department is said it needs done. I know there's been
Yeah.
people protesting that they're cutting trees, but
There's something about the fences that were up and parts of the fence are gone, so they have
yeah,
to.
it's had something to do with 541 and the high
Yeah.
wall, and so.
They're gonna replant trees though too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's good that they're managing that out there. So trees have a life like anything else. I was
And the
talking
other-
about that last time.
Another thing from the SPP meeting, I know that, they're gonna make one last ditch effort to the plastics company. I think
good.
tomorrow, I don't think it's gonna work. I mean, I just don't think it's gonna work. Mayor said that he felt that, the proper work was done and everything, so, I think they got a few more buildings that they're gonna send him tomorrow. I got that text right before I got here.
Has he looked at Novelty? Has it?
Yeah,
That building is really not terrible in there. I don't know I have no idea what kind of footprint he needs,
I
but
just know it's been about 2.5 years. and
Been
stuff.
too long.
I'm sure he needs to move on as well.
Yeah.
But I just, and, the mayor was confident that, Port Authority had done their job, so. And he also said that he'd talked to Shay early in the thing, said he called him, said if he needed anything for Shay to call him back. He actually said Shay never called him back, so that's where we're at. So probably not gonna happen, to be honest with you. It's just the way that happens. Okay. Let's see.
Max, I drove through Westfield the other day and I just glanced over it. Looks like there's a pretty nasty hole starting right there before you get to the museum. Something was dug up there. and
oh,
filled
that's the
in.
gas company.
Well,
Yeah,
they tore the heck out
I
of it.
know they did. And that is one more thing. I'm glad you brought that up. Kevin reworked the street repair ordinance that you guys passed last February, I believe. I believe that was ordinance 222. And it's got a couple of amendments, I guess he'd like to put in there. One of them is that we get these utility companies to get a permit from us before they dig, so we know where they're at. If you ask me who dug there, we know who dug there.
It's bad.
So,
Yeah.
And they repair in a timely manner.
and they repair in time of man, and they repair it to the proper
Right,
specs.
exactly.
Is there a time frame to get that one fixed by the judge's greenhouse down there?
The, where
Oh,
the
down.
LSM is, it's
Yeah.
starting to drop.
That thing's starting to.
Yeah. I just need, that'll be dug out, and we're
Yeah, what about the
we're
one?
waiting on to fire the hot mix plant up. I'll have hot mix put on top of it, so,
So that's the city's responsibility?
yeah, we'll do that one.
I know they redid the hot mix in the city lot behind the old people's building to fix some of the holes.
Mhm.
And it's actually worse than it was before. It's really
Was it hot
crumbling
mix
and
or was
falling.
it cold mix?
Oh, I have no idea.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
we just
It
need some
was-
cold mix in there to get by the
Okay,
winter.
well,
It's
it's
bad.
more treacherous than it was before as far as trying to walk through and the puddles and things, just kind of crumbling and falling apart.
There's some serious holes up the alley between Chestnut Street and Oak Avenue. On up a little bit beyond 12th Street. There's some, had a couple of people call me about they're dropping in those things really bad. Just if you want to take a look at that.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're at.
Okay.
lose a car, a couple of them. So,
Also the alley behind Sacred Heart we talked about.
did they not get up there on that?
No. I drove by there, down through there tonight coming down here. Lose a tire? Did you lose a tire? No, I drove solo.
I apologize, because I thought they got that one done.
Well, I think
You mentioned it.
that was the plan to get it the next day, and I don't know if something happened or what. Anything else for Max / Mayor? Okay, the income tax report, Jackie Cushman emailed it. I had emailed her, Sherry, I don't know if you can answer this or not. I saw the JED revenue was down, and she said something like seasonal workers. What is Walmart season?
Most likely. Was
So,
it in task force, Jen?
yes,
Yeah, they
okay,
fluctuate their workers. That's a big bulk of it out there.
okay. But, what was it, the overall revenue, I think was up like 48%.
Yeah, the business, we got another large estimated payment, kind of what happened in December.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anybody else have anything?
I should mention that Sherry brought up about the wages. We're promoting Jason Thornsley to that Assistant Public Works Director. Jason's been the Public Works Supervisor for, probably a year and a half or so. Done a fantastic job, and he deserves to go to that next level, so I'll put him right where Chad Haynes and Terry Foster are with the on the water distribution side, so.
Is it possible, I know Kevin used to come to all the meetings, but is it possible maybe once in a while, once a month, once every 2 months, someone show up and tell us what's going on?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Deputy Sheriff, do you have anything for us? You wait?
Yeah, I'm waiting. Just been busy, trying to get things cleaned up.
I know I see your
I
truck
wanna thank
around.
Tom for riding with me one day.
I did a ride along with him and it was an eye opener. I mean, it seemed like every corner we turned, there was a vehicle, an unregistered vehicle. We chased down 2 chicken complaints. So might be
Rocky,
a chicken fry coming up. Passed out some of those bags for mattresses that were laying out. A few other complaints. So yeah, it was an eye opener.
I still want to do that sometime. I did get a call from a gentleman on 4th that was very appreciative. I told him I'd pass it
Well,
on.
thanks for your patience, man.
No problem. He was quite happy.
that was a alley that the gentleman come in and cleaned that up and stuff, so.
We cleaned a couple places up.
Keep up the good work.
Mhm.
I do have one more thing to ask you guys, though, but we got a guy in Columbus. Edmund, I got to take a day up there and serve him a couple of summons.
The Carnegie Library,
Yeah,
we cited him a year ago for vacant property. And he pled guilty and paid the fine, never registered the property. So probably 8 months ago, I cited him again. We can't find him. Lives in Columbus, he has a house here. But Jeff Quarter was after him for months.
I've been trying to catch him on the weekends, but he lives in Columbus, and yeah, I haven't been able to catch him on the weekends. They hadn't been coming down here, maybe when the weather gets so nice, sure will.
I could send a summons to Columbus and ask them to serve it. It'll sit there forever, they'll never get it.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
We tried to send it to him by certified mail, that didn't work.
Anybody else have anything?
Can I make one more comment about the crack times?
Sure.
Yeah, I noted this and I wanted to say it and I just didn't put my paper over. In that, how we calculate what gets rebated back. In the contract, we came up with a baseline of wages, taxable wages of $18 million a year. So anything over the $18 million, so say 38 million, is there wages hypothetically in 18 million? that's 20 million, then that they're rebated 0.75% back. So I just wanted to,
And that
throw
was
that
in the
out there.
initial agreement when they gave abatements.
Final,
yeah, yeah. So I wanted to, because I think I should ask, well, how's that calculated? You know, how do we
Right.
calculate what's given back? So that's why I wanted to let you know. It's anything over $18 million of taxable wages. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have anything?
I'm attending a meeting on Thursday with the Tree Commission and ODNR. I was invited as part of council, so I'll be able to share with y'all about that.
Okay.
everybody that took the EPA finance deal, you're all on record, so.
Jim, did you get your certificates yet?
He may not get them now. She said, well, if you didn't hit some button, you may not get a certificate. So, but you are on record, so we're golden as far as, you got my undying gratitude, Jim. I hope that takes a place. For the certificate.
So all council members are good with that, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah, we're good
Okay. All right.
for now. I mean, we might have to do it again, probably.
Yeah, because somebody's running out here, 25, I think you and. You might be running out.
Start doing code stuff
Yeah,
like that.
probably because I did it right after I
Yeah.
began, so.
So,
Max, you know, I'm not sure what the name of the business is there, the smoke place on Main Street.
Right by Triple.
Yeah. That, their outside wall there next to that empty lot, that looks like it's a real problem to me. I don't know if we have any say in that or not.
About the only thing we could probably do for us, or the easiest thing to do, I guess, would be to send Jason Baughman over to look at it. I know when, the reason I say that is when the van ran through, the warehouse several years ago. I may have called him on the phone and he was over there. And then he let him, after Weaver got in there, got everything shored up that same day, he let him open back up. So he's probably our best bet. So maybe Wednesday, we can have him go over there and look at that.
I think that'd be a good thing. I know the problem is those aren't exterior bricks. And there are 2 or 3 rows back in.
Who owns that vacant lot now?
The guys
Paul
from
and
Texas.
Matt,
I understand when that, now, I may be wrong on this, but I recall when Triplets was still there, Sheriff Triplett was still there, that when she owned the lot, she owned that, that she also owned into that building, like 8 inches. That building was built 8 inches over into the next property, so basically the walls on someone else's property.
I was trying to remember something about that is familiar. I don't know for
Just
sure.
like 8 inches,
It's the
yeah.
same thing with the Park Hotel.
There's
I remember her
something.
telling me that.
If there's an easement or right away or.
I'll let you tell Paul Matt.
Just food for thought, but just think about it. So who's responsible for that?
It not being an exterior walls problem.
Yeah.
But they're a bar there.
Used to be.
Yeah.
Stone Grill.
That Ryan, that's where Stones was.
Yeah.
That was where the Panther Pass.
I remember the owner, his name was Ray Skaggs.
What about the house on East Main and Main where the vehicle went through it?
They're supposed to be demoing that.
They've been working on that.
Have they?
Mhm.
It's too far gone, I guess, but
So what's the status on the alley across from Chestnut to Main right now? Where is that standing? Are they,
that's been sent to.
I know it's been-
County reporters and. As far as I know, they'll just take over ownership of that.
okay, just take over?
They have to pay the
They had
fees
what,
and
30
everything?
days, didn't they? I think it was 30 days after we passed the ordinance.
Houses on Buffalo Street better come down to that. So
I didn't see that.
Every Wednesday. Pretty after Buffalo. Looking at
Where are we at on one fire?
which fire,
Locust?
We're waiting on the escrow check. We escrowed it. It's up to the, I want to say a state. I'm not sure where the state ended up, so it'll be up to the state at this point in time. But what happens is we can escrow the insurance money for those, which we have done. I don't know how many we're holding now, Sharon. We holding 6, 5.
Yeah,
Somewhere there, we get a portion of that insurance to hold until they do something with it. And we'll probably get close to a couple that have actually sold and we're still holding out money on. And Bob and I had a discussion on what we're gonna do with it.
All right, that's it. See you guys. Well, Amy got and we'll talk about this in council. She got a
liquor permit
liquor permit,
to present the barbecue place in Roscoe.
Roscoe Barbecue place. So I think we're good with that. Bring it up in council would be good.
How about, is anyone familiar with the language in the entertainment district liquor licenses? For example, let's say I have a place in Roscoe, which I cannot serve liquor on Sundays. If I obtain a new license through the entertainment district, can I then serve liquor on Sunday, which is my question.
I think I asked the same question and I think I was told no. Because the license aren't any different than the license you already previously have. I think I did ask that question to Laney the last time he was here, because I did talk to the Huck's owner. And they were kind of wanting to do some Sunday sales for some high liquor. And I don't think it was.
It was my understanding that those permits that they were giving out were the top permits and that would allow that.
Yeah,
So can someone find that out for us?
Yeah. Yeah, because yeah, she's asked me a couple times about it and I'm like, I don't know if you can trade that your license you have in and get this one.
You know, can
Question or
they, can they
new,
use that for Sunday
For
liquor,
Sunday
or do they
sales.
still have to go to the ballot to get permission to serve liquor on Sunday?
Yes. And I think that's what he said. It was a ballot. It
Well,
was a
I'm
ballot
trying to remember
issue.
too.
I
Like,
talked to
there's something
Lanny and he
different.
couldn't give me a direct answer.
Oh, okay.
I guess I was under the impression that as long as it was within the entertainment district, that it didn't have to go to ballot, but
That's what we need an answer on.
yeah.
Wouldn't be fair to everybody else.
Right. Right.
It's also my understanding that you could do that if you had a license, you could apply for this one. And then you could sell
Your other one.
your other license. I think you'd have to be out of county, but you can. New territory.
so maybe our new liquor license holders allowed to have Sunday sales as long as they are in the entertainment district.
Yes. So when you get an answer on that, let me know.
And it's top
Sell
shelf.
beer. They sell beer.
Yeah, the top shelf.
So can they sell beer and wine?
They can
now?
sell beer and wine, but you can't sell top shelf.
That's just the higher proof.
Yeah.
We have to do that else. We have to go around, get petitions signed, get it on the ballot.
Oh, we talked about the fire hydrants here a while back, painting them. And I recall somebody saying they didn't want wire brushed or
Because of the paint.
Because of the
Dave said
paint.
Lead-based paint.
Okay, because I had somebody wanted to paint the fire hydrants. So what are you suggesting that's done with the fire
I
hydrant?
did a 3 around the fire station, I'm still on.
Just, right, I mean, what would you recommend?
Mask,
Just like, yeah, right. Just
Oh, wait,
a regular
gloves.
mask and a.
gloves. I mean, David, am I wrong? An N95 probably would be the best.
Right.
Definitely an N95 and some gloves,
Okay.
some eye protection.
I painted mine, didn't I?
The easiest thing I found, Chad, was putting one of the little wheels on the end of the
On a
drill.
grinder, yeah.
On the end of a drill, and to do it right, it takes a couple, 3 hours, because it's tedious work to get all the little pieces and parts. off.
And that paint, we can pick that up here at the city? Okay, all right. That's all I need
Can you
now.
just paint it?
I'm just gonna paint it.
And I might even have some N95s if people need, if you need a couple N95s.
Okay, all right,
We got boatloads of them during COVID.
all right.
I got one at the house for sure.
Okay.
Somebody asked.
Killing that